That's the plan.
Okay.
All right. Good evening. I'm Pam Popovich, co-president of the Riviera Homeowners Association, and thank you for joining us as we come together once more via Zoom. Before we get going, though, I'd like to acknowledge Julian Chasen, who I think you just heard. He's our webmaster and host of tonight's meeting. And other participating board members, Judy Brunetti, my co-president, Yvette Antonio, who is Director of Outreach, and Ann Moore, Secretary. We'll continue in a minute, but I need to remind you about membership in RHA. If you appreciate these meetings, our website, and the ongoing work we do to ensure the Riviera remains the neighborhood we all treasure, please demonstrate your support by joining the association. Easy to do, go to www.hollywoodriviera.org and you can sign in there and pay by PayPal or do whatever it tells you to do. Or you can send back a check for $25 with the membership form that was included on the back of the postcard you all, I hope, received announcing tonight's meeting. And that's about all from me. So thank you again. And here's Judy with some brief announcements. Thank you. Have a good meeting.
Thank you, Pam. So just a few updates. First, the Torrance Airport tracking noise abatement system is still on schedule to go online in April. If you've noticed or been bothered by airport noise, this should get better in 2 months. Thank you to resident Richard Root, a lot of community pushback, and the Riviera Homeowners Association. So yay for all of us. Next, the Riviera Homeowners and Seaside neighborhood across PCH will host a live election forum with all of our important candidates for the June election. 3 mayoral candidates, 2 District 5 City Council candidates, and 2 candidates for treasurer. And they will all be speaking live on Wednesday, March 23rd at 7 o'clock. And we'll have more information about that live meeting closer to that date. Finally, you'll hear a wonderful speaker tonight. And if you're interested in following up, we will be at Ralph's Supermarket parking lot, the Ralph's on PCH, between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock this coming Saturday, January 29th, if you would like to sign the petition that you'll hear about. And now I'd like to ask Yvette Antonio, our outreach director, to introduce our speaker.
Who's us?
It's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker tonight, Redondo Beach Mayor Bill Brand. Mr. Brand has served as mayor of Redondo Beach since 2017 and was a city council member for 8 years prior to that. The mayor has long been an effective leader in the community on issues involving a balance between development and quality of life. He has spearheaded grassroots efforts and authored local initiatives. Most recently, he has co-authored the Community Zoning Initiative, which would block the state from imposing most kinds of zoning requirements on cities and counties and restore local zoning control. Mayor Brand has graciously agreed to answer some questions after this presentation. If you have a question, please click on the chat icon at the bottom of your Zoom screen and type it into the box. We'll ask him the questions after his presentation. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Redondo Beach Mayor Bill Brand.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate that introduction, Yvette. Good evening, everybody. Here we are. Boy, I've been doing a lot of these, and it's great to be at the, in Torrance and in the South Bay, because, Torrance is near and dear to my heart. I grew up, Palos Verdes, moved here in '66, so been here pretty much ever since, other than a stint down in Seal Beach when I was going to Long Beach State. So, yeah, boy, we got a fight on our hands, and what I was going to do is go through a presentation as quick as I can. It's about 10 slides. Give everybody a little background. Some of you know it, but I'll go through it more quickly. I think a lot of people are getting more familiar with what's going on. And then I'll open it up to questions, because I always find getting to questions sooner rather than later gets people engaged, and they start getting their questions answered and more information comes out. So can I share my screen? Who's ever in charge of that? I got a presentation I'd like to show. I don't have to do the presentation, but it's
Yes, yes, yes.
See if I can get you going on that.
okay. There it is. Okay, great. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Excellent. So we have an initiative. It's a statewide initiative. The common name of it is our Neighborhood Voices Initiative. And that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about tonight. So the fundamental question as we move forward through all this, it gets wonky. You know, we get into land use and zoning, and nothing wonkier than that when you're talking about, you know, design guidelines and that sort of thing, who's in charge. But it always comes back to this fundamental question: who's better suited to set zoning and other land use regulations for your town? The legislature in Sacramento, or your local cities and counties who are represented by people that you elect directly and live where you live? I think the answer to that's pretty obvious, but that's unfortunately Sacramento thinks the answer is A, and that's what's causing so many problems for our community. And that's what they're doing. They're basically blaming the cities. It's the city's fault. I've been going to Sacramento for the last 5-6 years, talking to them about this. I've seen these bills coming, and it's a narrative that was generated years ago, 5-6 years ago, that the housing shortage, affordability crisis, however you want to characterize it, it's all the city's fault. And we've got to strip them of their ability to control what goes on in their own town, and basically just take the lid off to residential development in the best way that we can. And so, you know, while I've been up there trying to collaborate, as have many, many other local elected officials all over the state, and they've always been carrying this narrative that we're the problem, we caused it, and it's a simple supply and demand. We just build more and the price will come down. And unfortunately, that doesn't work when it comes to residential. As we know, San Francisco, being the most densely populated city in the entire state of California, is also the most expensive. So mean lower prices when it comes to residential development. Supply and demand, very common theory, but it is a theory. It's not a natural law, which I like to remind people, like, you know, water boils at 212 degrees. It's a theory that usually works, but breaks down when it comes to residential development. What's going on here? There we go. Yeah, so going back to 2018, I don't know how many of you have been following us since then, but there was a bill called SB827, authored by Senator Scott Wiener out of San Francisco. And it required cities to allow for unlimited density within a certain distance from bus stops that had a certain frequency. You'd be amazed how many buses around here satisfy those frequency requirements. So I was, at the time in 2018, I was up in Sacramento trying to, you know, explain the problems they were going to cause in cities. And I was meeting with my senator, Ben Allen, who's also your senator. And he said, well, Bill, let's just go into Scott Wiener's office and talk to him right now. So he marched me into Scott Wiener's office, and we had a nice conversation for about half an hour. And I said, well, where's the affordability component in all this? You're going to make all these cities allow for unlimited density. Well, why don't you have an affordability component in there? You know, affordable housing is the issue. And there wasn't an answer. And we talked for about half an hour. He's a nice guy, very smart, to Harvard. And at the end of the meeting, you know, again, I asked him, and there just never was an answer. And there never has been an answer. For the last 4 or 5 years, the state really has not been helping us get affordable housing. That's really the challenge that most of the elected officials I see up and down the state, certainly in Redondo and I know in Torrance, is to get more affordable housing, not just more housing. That bill died. The next year it became SB50. That's what they do in Sacramento. They change the number, tweak it a little bit, maybe give it a new author, and then it was SB50. That died the next year. And then last year, going over a year now, it was SB 1120, which now they took a new tack. They'll say, well, we'll require cities to allow block splits of single family homes. We'll mandate that if somebody owns a single family home and they want to go in and split it into 4 units, they should be able to do that, and the city shouldn't be able to stop them. It failed in the last session, but in this most recent session, it passed as SB9, which was signed into law by Governor Newsom back in September. So it's now in effect, January 1. So if you own a single family lot, you can walk into the city of Torrance and ask to split your lot into 2, and then you can build at least 2 units on each lot. So you often hear that this is a duplex bill. It is not. It's a fourplex bill. It's a fourplex bill. So and the city can't require any more than a 4-foot setback side or rear. And so you can imagine for people who live in single family homes, it's going to have a major impact. So these bills passed. It wasn't just SB9 and SB10. There's been other bills throughout the years that I've showed you before. So what do we do now? What we did is we crafted a constitutional amendment. This is really embedded in the Constitution of the state of California that allows that allows the state to override city control on certain issues, and this is one of them. So to turn that around and transfer the power back to our communities, you have to amend the Constitution. Every bill that they write in there says this is of state interest and not subject to community affairs. And that's in every single bill they write, because they know they have to reference that. So anyway, I crafted this amendment over 3 years ago with Legislative Council in Sacramento. And the people who write the bills up there, they assigned me 2 attorneys, and we crafted this, and they handed it to me back in February 2019. And, time passed, clock 2 years. And last March, our assembly member, Almer Sitchi, is a very strong proponent of local control. He liked it. And he goes, well, Bill, why don't I just make your constitutional amendment a bill? And I'm like, well, that'll never pass. He said, that's okay. It'll be out there. It'll get a number, and you'll be able to build awareness with it and point to it and gather support. And I said, well, great. So he got a co-author, Senator Glazier up in the Bay Area, and it became ACA 7. And that is now, obviously the legislature didn't pass it. The way you amend the Constitution is the legislature either by 2/3 vote puts it on the ballot and the residents approve it. It has to go for a vote. Any amendment to the state constitution has to go for a vote. Or you do a citizen-led initiative, get enough signatures, and then it gets on the ballot, and you can amend the Constitution. So that's what we did, and it is now our neighborhood voices. What does it do? It amends Article 11 of the Constitution, transfers power for zoning and land use from Sacramento back to local agencies like the city of Torrance, city of Redondo. There's exceptions for the Coastal Act and large infrastructure projects. Does not affect fair housing laws or seeker requirements. Allows counties and cities to set their own standards. And we're hearing a lot of stuff from environmental groups that are concerned about the Endangered Species Act. They're concerned about the Port of Cologne Clean Water Act, that somehow cities will be able to circumvent that. And that's absolutely not the case. But it's catching on in environmental communities, unfortunately. Anyway, so it's officially the Brand-Huang-Mendoza Land Use Initiative. We filed it with the Attorney General back in August 25th in time to make the November 2022 ballot. We got title and summary back November 1st. And so we had 6 months from that date to collect over 1 million signatures. So we got a big lift, and we got a lot of people out there collecting signatures, but we still have a long way to go. Here are the proponents. John Heath, he's co-founder of United Homeowners Association in Los Angeles. He is an affordable housing developer. He's an attorney. Jovita Mendoza, he's a council member up in the city of Brentwood in the Bay Area. She's first generation Mexican. She's just fantastic. Dennis Richards, former planning commissioner in city and county of San Francisco. Peggy Wong is a mayor of Yorba Linda. And then myself, Mayor of Redondo Beach. It's very much, it's a tripartisan, we call it, initiative, because there's Democrats, there's Republicans, there's declined estates, there's people of all income classes that really, once they look at this and understand it, do not want Sacramento setting what happens in their own town. So we're quite a mix. We've gotten a lot of support from all over the state, a lot of statewide community groups. most recently, I don't know if you guys know what SCAG is, but you'll probably hear it and notice it now. It's called the Southern California Association of Governments. They're made up of 191 cities in Southern California, 6 counties, and they represent 19 million people in Southern California, the largest planning agency in the entire country. And they voted 32-12 to support our initiative. So that was huge. Mayor Eric Garcetti of Los Angeles came on arguing against it. He even said he would propose a motion to oppose it, and they shot him down 32-12. And it was quite remarkable, frankly, and a testament to the local elected officials who see what's going on here and definitely want to maintain control of what happens in their own town. Livable California, some of you guys know, United Neighbors, California Alliance of Local Elected Officials. That's about a 2-year-old group of local electeds that meet every Sunday at 4 o'clock. We've had a lot of state representatives on Sunday to answer questions for us and try to educate them about why we're opposed to these. And then, of course, right out of Torrance, I keep saying communities. Apologies to Mike Griffith. Your council member, Mike Griffith, formed this great group called California Cities for Local Control, not communities. Sorry about that, Mike. But he started way back when SB9 was first coming along. I don't know how long they've been in existence, but they got hundreds of opposition letters from various cities just by the outreach and the volunteer groups that he had, that people like Amy Josephek are on. They've just done just a fantastic job. And of course, when the initiative hit, then that became their second movement to get cities to support our initiative, which has been doing quite great. Had a lot of support from other cities that are passing resolutions of support for our initiative. In fact, City of Torrance passed one, Redondo Beach, Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach, Palos Verdes Estates, Rancho Palos Verdes, I think the entire Hill. So this whole South Bay has passed resolutions of support for our initiative. And here comes Wall Street. I can't let my presentation go by without explaining to everybody how this is the new economic investment model for Wall Street. That is residential development. So they're going, frankly, all over the world and buying up residential development by the billions and turning a lot of them into rentals. That's their new cash flow model. And so there was an article recently in the Daily Breeze. 51% of Southern California's home buying surge was by investors. So half the transactions are driven by investors. And so, as I say, like when SB9 is now in effect, as time goes on, what's going to end up happening is when your neighbor's house goes up for sale, you're not necessarily going to get a new neighbor. It's very likely, because of the huge upzoning, that you're going to get an LLC, some other investment vehicle, pays cash, right? Outbids any other buyer, and they're going to build a box. They're going to build 4 units with no more than 4-foot setback, rear and side, and there'll be rentals. And we're very limited on the parking standards we can require. We can only require 1 parking spot per unit. And if we're within half a mile of a bus stop of a certain frequency, you can't require any parking, any on-site parking, 0. So there's a lot of places in the South Bay that you're going to see have to allow these units to get built with no parking requirements. It's unbelievable. So anyway, it's the investor groups now that are often driving price increases, not always. Blackstone, Invitation Homes, Cerebus, those are some of the names. And if you read, business articles, New York Times or Financial Times, you'll start seeing articles about how they're investing billions in this new venture. Anyway, how can you guys help? Go to our website, ourneighborhoodvoices.com. I put it in the chat. You can donate. We really are in a huge fundraising push, as well as a volunteer signature drive. It's really just about getting signatures right now to get it on the November 2022 ballot. We really, really want to get it on that ballot. On our website, you can also endorse the initiative. Just sign your name and your email and you'll be updated. We don't sell your email address or anything. It's just to keep in touch with this and do the volunteer signature gathering. So I think you mentioned the event that's coming up this weekend over at Ralph's. So anyway, as you guys can see, it's quite, it's really important. Let me just say that. Look, this isn't going to happen overnight. We're not all going to wake up and, in 3 months, there'll be boxes going up, but it is insidious, and it is not what we want for the future of our communities. And eliminating single family housing is not going to solve the affordability crisis. It's not going to really do much except bring more people in that we will not be able to service. Something a lot of people don't understand is residential development does not pay for cities. Most cities get like 10% of property tax revenue back to their cities, and that's all we get for residential development generally. So we make money on commercial, industrial, those sort of land uses. So it's digging our hole. Anyway, with that, I'm happy to take any questions. Thanks again for having me. You guys, I really appreciate it. And if you got more questions after all this, just go to our website or contact me. I'll put my email address in there as well.
Actually, I wanted to know how we can ask questions, because I don't see, are we putting them all on chat, Julian, or can people raise their hands?
People can raise their hands, or you could type it into the chat. Chat's a little more persistent. I would prefer
I can go through those really quick if you want me to.
Oh, yeah.
When is the signature drive event again this weekend, though? That would be a good thing to.
10 o'clock, 10 a.m.
10 a.m. at Ralph's.
At Ralph's.
Yeah.
That's right.
It says, yeah, there it is right there, Amy Joseph. If this initiative does not get onto the ballot and or does not pass, then investors, speculators, de facto planning, and essentially override the city council. Yes, that will happen. What will happen is these boxes will start going up, and of course, everybody will call their council member, their mayor, and go to, how you dare you let this happen. And unfortunately, there's not going to be anything we can
Too late.
do. Yeah, I don't really see a question here. How can we get at the root of the issues of staving off the investors purchasing single family homes versus homeowners? We passed an urgency ordinance that requires the person who comes in for a lot split to be a person, an actual person. It can be in a trust and that sort of thing, but you can't be an LLC or a some other financial instrument. We'll see if that holds up, but this is all new territory, folks. It really is. And I've talked to a lot of land use experts, and we are definitely a new territory for a lot of these things. But we did in Redondo pass an urgency ordinance that requires it to actually be a person. And there are some good things in SB9 where supposedly if somebody's renting it, in the last I think 5 years you can't just flip it. Also, you have to agree to live in it if you split the lot for 3 years, one of the units at least. But a lot of these are very loosey-goosey. Yeah, it's who's going to enforce all this stuff? Okay. It's not going to be easy. So it's definitely in a case of the state coming in with a lot of unintended consequences of what they're doing. So what else? Do you know how many signatures you have already? I don't have a handle on that. I'm not doing the signature drive, but we're a long ways from the over $1 million we're going to need, which is why really donations and what we're doing with the volunteer signature gathering are really key right now, because the clock is ticking. We have to the end of April. So yeah.
I have a question here from Lannon. Want to
Hey
go
guys.
ahead, Lannon?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Excellent. Couple of things. Mayor Brand, first of all, thank you so much for doing this. Definitely need to tackle this head on. First question I have is there a way that I can get hold of the slides that you presented? There's a lot of really great information in there. I would love to be able to study that a little more and to be able to use it in presentations.
Oh, sure. I'll send it to Judy, and it's
Okay.
yeah, for all to use and do whatever you want with it.
Okay, Judy's going to be working with me at Ralph's tomorrow, so that's fantastic. I'm really pleased about that. And by the way, thanks for publicizing that. I think it's really important. We're out there on Nextdoor. I've tweeted it out. Not that I have a lot of followers. Put it out on Facebook, and I also have a group of people that I'm working with on a Google group, and I've sent it out to them. So I'm hoping that there'll be some people coming out and helping. I just want to appeal to this group that's out there that if you haven't signed the petition, then please, if it's in your area, come out tomorrow to Ralph's and sign. We also have additional, sorry, not tomorrow, on Saturday. We also have additional petitions that I'm more than happy to help to give out to people. If they want to help by having their friends sign, I will walk you through the process necessary to do the signatures, the ins and outs, and what you should and shouldn't do. I've been doing this for a couple of months already. I think we've been doing fairly well. I just think we need to ramp up pretty dramatically. And I think what we want is we want the multiplier effect, have more people reaching out to more people so that we can really get this going. So that's a little bit of a promo there. But the other question that I have, Mayor Brand, is can you speak to how, if at all, this initiative and really the change in the California Constitution will or will not impact the housing element that we're all kind of dealing with right now in the sixth cycle or fifth cycle, whatever it is?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Landon. But first, thanks for all the work you're doing. It's, we need to become force multipliers like you just described, but I really appreciate the efforts you're putting into this. It takes a team effort for sure. The housing element, yeah, we're going through that right now in Redondo Beach. The initiative, the state will no longer be able to force you to upzone your areas. Now, the housing element will still be there, no question. And HCD, Housing and Community Development, will still be there. And we'll still be making an attempt to get more affordable housing. But they're really not going to have the teeth anymore to force us to upzone areas. There's a lot of, what was I going to say? Just a lot of things the cities are going to be able to do now that they hadn't been able to do before. And, every elected official I talk to in the state of California, their goal is to get more affordable housing. And what a lot of people don't understand about RHNA, for those of you who don't know RHNA, RHNA stands for Regional Housing Needs Assessment, which is what given to each city. Redondo Beach is required to upzone for 2,490. I don't know what Torrance is. It's probably in the thousands, I'm sure. But it doesn't require affordable housing, right? And I'll use the Galleria as an example. South Bay Galleria, we approved a 1.6 million square foot redevelopment. Never been residential on there. They had zoning for 1,000. They had zoning for 1,000 units on the Galleria site. And their plan came forward with 300. They didn't have to have any, right? And we had zoned it for 1,000, and that was part of our housing element, right? And the whole purpose of the housing element is supposedly to get more affordable housing. Well, they didn't have to build any residential units, so they built 300, and none of them had to be affordable. There's no requirement that they had to be affordable. They could have built 1,000 units with zero affordable. They could have done that. It would have been very hard for us to deny it. But they came forward with 300, and then we required 20% affordable as a condition of approval, just the city council. So we did that. The state didn't do that. We did that. And the state didn't frankly do anything. So RHNA is not what it's purported to be or what people think it is. It's really just a kind of like SB9. It's just a huge upzoning with no requirement for affordable housing. That's a long answer, I know. But it's important for people to understand that when they hear about this issue. So yeah, when it comes to the housing element, Landon, cities are going into that process with new powers. And if you read our initiative, cities cannot be punished for exercising their rights under this new power. So we were, worried that the state would just withhold grants and other funds, but that's also in the initiative that they can't do that. So there you go. It's kind of a war, right?
Yeah, excellent. That's really good news.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, Bill, do you know how many different groups of people are out there petition gathering? And are you going to have some paid petition gatherers eventually, or at some point, do you think?
Number one, I don't know how many groups are out there. There's so many, which is a good thing. And it's building. Our momentum is really building. And yes, we have to get paid signature gatherers out there.
Yeah.
Judy, there's just no question. If we don't, we're not going to make it. There's no way we can get this done with a volunteer effort. But the more volunteers we get, the cheaper it will be, and the quicker we'll get there. And the more you build awareness and momentum and donations and support. So look, if the right amount of money drops in our lap right now, we will be on the November ballot, right? And so our real shortage right now is money.
Okay.
And we're in competition with out there gathering signatures with companies that have plenty of money to get their initiative, like Lyft. Lyft has a initiative going. The gaming industry has an initiative going.
Yeah, that's a big one.
You know, and they got all the dough in the world. I talked to the signature gatherers, and so that's what we're up against right now.
Okay. Okay. Well, we are going to have a couple of tables, so we hope to set up at the Ralph's parking lot. But we will be out there. If they don't let us in front of the store, we'll be in the parking lot. But we will be out there. And
I am. Saturday, this Saturday, 10 to 2.
that's this
You
coming
should sign
Saturday.
it too.
This coming Saturday.
Judy? Pam,
Yes.
somebody? It seems to me that we have a group of people here, and we've talked about wanting them to help with the petitions, but also I would like to personally say, I hope each one of you would give at least $10 to this cause. They need money. Most of us, I think here, I would bet, think it's a good idea and a good initiative. And I would hope that everyone would support it with money.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever you guys can afford. We're getting donations from $10 to $200,000. Lady up in the Bay Area donated just $200,000. She sent me an email. I want to donate a lot of money. I called her. We talked for several days.
That's a little bit stiff for me, Bill, but I'll do what I can.
All right,
20,000.
I just wanted to share that with you. The 10, the 50, and the $100 donations are really carrying the day, and as well as, you know, whatever people give. So it's all over the map, which is a sign of a grassroots organization, right?
Yeah. Yes.
The lady who donated, she is not an elected official. She's never been one. She's just been active in her community and you know, saw this and said, I gotta get behind it. And yeah, it's got a lot of money.
Amy, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, can I just want to clarify something. So obviously Bill has been on this for years, and this would not be here without his efforts and his just bulldog tenacity, and we can't even say thank you enough. But I also want to say, Bill, you had asked about the RHA number for Torrance. I know Mike is on, Mike Griffiths, and I think Mike, isn't the Torrance number just under 5,000? If I'm correct, it's roughly in that area. So there's a lot of Torrance.
5,000 is the right number.
What I want to emphasize is that there are people that have gone on to the ourneighborhoodvoices.com website and have signed up under the endorsement page. That is not the same as showing up and putting your actual signature on the piece of paper, for example, that Judy and Lannon will have set up from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday at Ralph's on PCH and Cali Mayor. They are two completely separate things, even though there are people that say, but I've already endorsed it, I've already signed up. Two different things. And I need to be really clear about this, because there are people that have thought that they've done what needs to be done. Unfortunately, it's a multi-step process, and we beg your indulgence, but if you do one but not the other, it doesn't quite get the job done. We need you to sign the endorsement online, because that lets us at the initiative know how many people support us. We also need you to kick in. If it's only $5 or $10, great. If it's 100, even better. If it's 500, great. If you happen to have 5,000 lying around, we desperately need that money, because as Bill said, we're going to have to hire professional signature gatherers, and also the developers and investors and speculators who've already driven up the price for these houses by offering cash over asking prices are very, very, very deep pocketed. And they do not like this initiative, and they will do anything in their power to kill it. CAR is the California Association of Realtors. As an organization, they are against this and fighting this, even though every individual realtor I know in the South Bay and otherwise thinks this is a terrible idea. So there is going to be huge money fighting us, even if we do get 1.5 million signatures. And the problem with that is that many of them will get kicked out. And so that's why we need to get so many. But even if we get that number, there's then going to be a tremendous media push against us. So we desperately need to raise a lot of money. We also desperately, if we don't get the 1.5 million signatures, then it's all, a moot point. But please, if you have already endorsed, that's great. Kick in $5 or $10 or $5,000, whatever you happen to have lying around. But you also must come and sign on paper with a black or blue pen. And those are two different things, because those petitions go directly to the state. The petition group does not see them. We don't see them at the initiative group. Two completely separate things, but we need to know who supports us publicly. So please don't confuse those two issues, and make sure you let everyone you know, every neighbor, every family member up and down the state, because this will affect every single city in the state. There have been claims made that it won't affect HOAs. There have been claims made that it won't affect high fire zones. I just have to say it's bullshit, and there's no other word to use. There are senators that just are flat out liars. Why? Because they're all supported by incredible developer lobbyist money. And so please don't fall for it. We need your help on the website, endorse it, donate, and then come on Saturday and make your signature and let your friends know. Thank you.
Yeah, let me just real quick say that, whatever they claim is in the bill or whatever's in some other bill, they're writing bills right and left. So everything is just a stroke of a pen. And that's the problem. They've passed over 60 housing bills in the last 5 years or so that are going after local control, over 60. So if you think you're safe from SB9 for some verbiage that's in there, don't hold your breath, because they're in a whole nother session and it's all just a stroke of the pen. And the point is, they're just taking over our ability to control what goes in our own town. I see somebody asked me if Carson is supporting it. Yes, they passed a resolution of support. And you're soon, you probably already read in the Daily Brew that Carson, Torrance, and Redondo Beach are soon to file a lawsuit against the state on SB9.
That's great.
So yeah, we're definitely teamed up with Carson and Torrance.
Okay.
We're also suing the state over SB10 along with the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, because it's unconstitutional. It's amazing. I mean, they know this is unconstitutional. They just pass it anyway, and they'll get away with it if they're not challenged in court. So
wow,
it's amazing. They override, SB10 tries to override the will of the voters, and it's just amazing. They say, oh, if a 2/3 majority of the city council approves something, then it can ignore a voter approved a local initiative. So I don't know, where they think they can do that. It's clear in the Constitution they can't, but oh well. So we're suing.
Oh, we have to go and sign that.
Yes, on Saturday.
So that's all we need.
Okay. I might like to gather signatures.
oh good.
Hey, Sandra, I think you need to mute yourself, but yeah, other signatures. I agree.
Yeah, you do. Okay, so Bill, I've got a question for you.
Yeah, far away.
I don't know if am I muted? Okay. Well, I'm talking with other HOA presidents of Seaside neighborhood across the street from us, and Southwood also nearby. And we're trying to get somebody to rotate, and so that we will show up every weekend on Saturday from 10 to 2. If we get enough people out there who will help us keep the petition signing going, we can just make this a regular thing. And I think that the word will get out in this area that you can go on every Saturday to the Ralph's parking lot, and there'll be a table there.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea, Judy. That kind of consistency and reliability, and people can say, hey, between 10 and 12 on any Saturday, I can swing by that Ralph's and sign. That's exactly.
Yeah, and we're trying to make it 10 to 2. So it's going to be 10 to 2 this week, and we'll try and make that the regular time. And also I wanted to ask you, I've heard that towns of under 5,000 inhabitants or less are not affected by this SB9. Is that true?
No.
Okay, so everybody
That's
has to.
just, even if it was, right, that'd just be SB9. That's what I was trying to say earlier. You know, and then look, they were pulling a bunch of rabbits out of the hat as the legislative session started coming to a close because they were getting a lot of pushback, and they got some squiggly language in there that homeowners associations are excluded. But you really got to read it with a fine-tooth comb, and a lot of that stuff was just thrown in at the last second, trying to appease, frankly, people with money that saw this initiative coming, and they were trying to stave it off.
Yes. And I'm looking at the chat too. It's, yes, our Torrance City leaders support the voters initiative, and they have written a resolution stating that they are opposed to SB9 and sent that Sacramento legislators, as have
Yeah,
been.
there's cities all over the state doing that. I mean, just last night, city of Brentwood up in the Bay Area passed a resolution of support. Downey's going to pass a resolution of support. As I mentioned, all the other cities around here have. Hawthorne, pretty sure Gardena is going to, if they haven't already. So yeah, we're building a lot of support. Just got to translate that into signatures.
Great.
It's kind of interesting. It's really, you know, we started off this as a campaign. It's really turning into a movement, you know, as we talk to the state political consultants and PR people, and they see the kind of support we're growing. That really, you know, they're telling us, Bill, this isn't so much of a campaign anymore, it's a movement. You know, like the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, they're like, you know, you guys keep this going, you're gonna be around for a while, because the state's going to keep coming after our communities. And yeah, as people figure out what's happening, they predict this is going to be an important group.
Bill, I see something on chat, a question from Kathy that asks, does the signature have to be from a member in the beach cities only, or anywhere in California?
Anywhere.
Yeah, any registered voter in California will qualify. What's important though is when you get your book filled, if you're gathering signatures, that you turn it into the county of Los Angeles. So you gather the signature in a particular county. You don't take your book up to, you know, wherever, up to Fresno, and have people sign it, because then it'll get to our county and then it won't count. So they go to county clerks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's really not something anybody needs to worry about. That's, you know, don't go skiing in Mammoth for a weekend and get a bunch of signatures. They won't count.
No.
They're from LA County.
No, don't say that.
They could do it.
No, Bill, because what I think is, and I was going to ask you to clarify this, we just can't do someone from Orange County and someone from LA County on the same physical
petition.
piece of paper.
Right.
But I got somebody from Orange
That's what I'm
County
saying.
this weekend, and
That's
they're
what I'm
decorating.
saying, Amy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to Mammoth, there's people from all over the state, right? So that's all.
Just have to separate them out. That's all.
Yeah, that'll be a busy weekend. Okay.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't want to do that. So.
Right.
Stand at the lift line.
Well, I mean, if they're from LA County, hey, anybody from LA County? But
Yes.
it would have to be LA County.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, you don't want to turn in a petition to Lassen County, right?
And also, I'm going to warn people that when you come there to sign, the person who's taking it is going to sound very sort of annoyingly anal to you. I apologize to everyone while I'm doing it. The state is looking for every excuse to kick your signature out. That is a fact of life. And so you have to stay, there's a box, and if there's a Y in your name, like there is in mine, and you go outside of box number 3, if that's what you're signing, your signature is voided. And so I often have people have to go to the next box down just to make sure. So please don't be upset with the person who's circulating the petition. We're just trying to make sure that if you've gone to the trouble of coming there to sign something, that your signature actually gets counted.
And you should also mention that the boxes are very small. So the boxes are small, and then you have to keep all of your signature inside the box. So, you know, we have these little guidelines, right, where we don't let people sign below the line because it could invalidate their signature. So it's crazy, but that's how you have to do it. So, So I would just encourage everybody who's listening to tell a friend that they should come down, if they haven't already signed a petition, to come down to Ralph's on Saturday and bring a friend and come and sign, because we'll be there and we'll be ready. And we're trying to do this every Saturday at the Ralph's at the Plaza Mayor 10 to 2.
Here's another thing that Amy was doing, which was gathering neighbors. So if you're in a neighborhood where you have friends and people you know next door or down, maybe you can gather them together for one day at one time and get in touch with Amy or Judy or anyone else who is authorized to do this.
Right.
And
it's
if
really
you guys
easy,
have
and it's
another
really
homeowners
easy to
group
offer.
you'd like me to appear at, I certainly can.
I think you're already appearing at Seaside Neighborhood, aren't you? I think you're going there soon. Or if you haven't already.
I think I did already, Judy.
Tricia Blanco.
Be mistaken.
Bill will show up anywhere he's asked. He is,
Okay.
he's wonderfully shameless in that he'll talk to
Okay.
anyone who wants to hear him. So
I'm the president of Seaside Neighborhood. I have invited you, Bill, but you haven't responded yet. So I keep emailing you. You haven't
Yeah,
responded
there you go,
yet.
Amy. See?
busted.
Judy knows the future. So anyway, I will find a better way to reach you because you haven't caught my emails.
I'm sorry, Tricia. Put it try again.
I'll send you his phone number, Tricia.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
And I
right.
will be there, Tricia. Seaside is down by Sleepy Hollow, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I answer? Teresa's asking a question about home renters. And yes, those signatures count. If you are a registered voter, it counts. And renters need to understand that this is going to affect them as well. It is not just if you own a house that this will affect you. The gimmick, the conceit that these senators are using is that the more density there is, magically the price of housing will drop. Did I mention bullshit? I'm a New Yorker. I know you couldn't have told that, but if density created cheap housing, then kind of New York prices would be very, very, very different. San Francisco prices would be different. We've seen this in Vancouver. It's all a game. So the notion that allowing more housing, especially when it's allowed to be luxury and market rate, is going to magically make the price of housing cheaper is absolutely nonsense. And so if you are a renter, especially if you want to be saving your money in order to buy a home at some point, which so many people want to, and it is not just the California dream, but it's the American dream, and you want to have a front yard and a backyard, especially if you have kids that want to play in it, then the idea that that these developers are able to dictate the fact that you should not be able to have single family housing is preposterous and insulting on every level. And so please, if you are a renter, please bring your friends who are renters. This is not restricted to owners. If you are a registered voter in the state of California, you are eligible to make a difference and sign this, and we welcome and need your help.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so that, I guess that might be it. Okay.
Yeah,
So-
it's after you cover everything, it gets pretty simple, really.
Yeah. Yes.
And I really appreciate you guys having me on. I hope you guys can get down to Ralph's and sign it. Whoever wants to volunteer can, go on our website, sign up. They'll send you booklets. And yeah, donate.
Donate. Okay.
$10 makes a big
So
difference. So,
donate, sign the petition and donate, both of those things. Well, Bill Brand, thank you so much. It's a terrific presentation. It's a wonderful program, and I think everybody already knew that this was a bad thing, but now we know the specifics of just how bad it can be. So we need to take action on it, and that's the message I think people will take from this program. So thank you. And I'd like to thank Bill Brand. I'd like to thank Pam Popovich, Julie and Jason for hosting this meeting on Zoom, and more, Yvette Antonio, and all who participated tonight. Thank you so much. And I'm Judy Bernetti. We'll see you at the table at Ralph's parking lot this Saturday And please come on down. So thank you and good night.
Thanks, everybody. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
And,
bye, everyone. I hope to see you on Saturday.
Okay.
Oh, and Mike Griffiths just put in something really important. No one even mentioned that SB9 overrides the hillside overlay. So yet another reason, if there wasn't already enough to convince you that this needs to be
Thank you.
signed. And if
Thank you.
somebody is building 4 units, it doesn't matter if it's going to be peering down into your backyard and take away your light and your air. Tough.
Thanks, Mike.
Mhm.
Okay, that's double awfulness.
Don't call Mike.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't call Bill. I mean, they.
Bye, everyone.
Don't thank me. I didn't create the bill.
Thanks, Mike, for that reminder.
did.
You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
So long, everybody.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you.
Goodbye, Bill
Thanks,
Brand.
Bill.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody. That's fun.
Okay,
Hey,
all right.
Thanks, Julian. That was great.
Yeah. Shall we call it a night now?